Our 2024-2025 season previews continue on today with the New Jersey Devils. The Devils are actually a very exciting team. They are definitely our team that was very disappointing last year, but there's hope that they will bounce back from that incredibly disappointing year. But first off, where did this all start? Well, before then, they were in a rebuild. And in 21-22, when they were expected to take a little bit of a step, or at least get a little bit better, they really didn't. They went 27, 46, and 9 for 63 points. They were 28th in the NHL. They obviously missed the playoffs. They weren't, horrible, but they were still pretty bad. They were, I think it was bottom 5 or 6 in the league. It was a brutal year. And it was I wouldn't say it was unexpected, but to be honest, when you look in terms of what this Devils team wanted to do, they took a step back, and it was very disappointing. But they did get Simon Nemec with that second overall pick, and with the guys they've gotten before and some guys they acquired in free agency, the team's future looked on the bright end. They went 52-21-9 in 22-23 for 112 points. They were third in the NHL, second in the Metro, and they would end up playing the New York Rangers in the first round, where they would beat them. And then they went on to play Carolina. They lost in 5 games, but still, it was a very good step for that Devils roster. However, in 23-24, this team took a massive step back. They went 38, 39, and 5 for 81 points. They were 23rd in the NHL that year, and they missed the playoffs. Lots of injuries, lots of poor defensive play, lots of bad goaltending. It was a rough year. It was an incredibly disappointing year by the Devils team. They fire Lindy Ruff. They bring in Sheldon Keefe as the brand new head coach of this team, which Sheldon Keefe is known for having very good regular seasons. Playoffs, it's night and day. But regardless, this team made a lot of moves in the offseason, letting go some guys, bringing in some guys, so we'll get straight into that. Key departures, we'll start there this time. They let go of John Marino, Kevin Ball, Alexander Holtz, Brendan Smith, Akira Schmid, and Thomas Nosek. So overall, no big losses. They lost 2 pieces on the blue line, but they aren't huge losses. I guess Marino is a top 4 defenseman, but apart from that, they didn't really lose a lot. Holtz was a guy that was already underwhelming as it was. Smith, defense, not a deft defender. Schmid was like their third string at points this past year, but obviously things didn't work out in New Jersey. And then Nosek was a 4th line center. They could have easily replaced that, to be honest. The guys they brought in I thought were pretty good moves. They brought in Tomas Tatar, Paul Cotter, Brett Pesce, Brendan Dillon, Stefan Noesen, and Jacob Markstrom. So we'll start off with Tatar, Cotter. Those are 2 very solid, probably bottom 6 forwards that fit in for some good offensive depth. Again, Tatar is used to this Devils team. He's played on this team before, so that's obviously, I think, a good add. Pesce and Dillon really help out that blue line. I think that really makes the blue line a lot stronger, and it makes it it really makes it really deep if it's all healthy. Noesen, good 4th line guy there pretty much. And then Markstrom, your starting goaltender, hopefully. Again, as I said, that was the Devils' biggest issue in 2023-24. So if that even gets, I can't exemplify enough. If it gets a little bit better, this team's probably in the playoffs. I'm just saying. They came close last year. Yeah, they were 23rd, but they were in that, they were in that mesh of teams that were battling for that wild card spot in the East. So, again, they can get in. They probably will get in next year. And I talked about it on the Nordcast a lot. And I was saying to myself, well, could this Devils team really miss the playoffs this year? It seems like it's almost impossible for them to with their new ads. So we'll get into it here, starting off with their top 6. You have Andre Palat, Jack Hughes, Jesper Bratt as your first line. Then you got Tomas Tatar, Nico Hischier, and Timo Meier as your second line. So that's a good top 6. I think that there's a lot of guys in there where you don't even need to question them. Jack Hughes, we know what he can do. Jesper Bratt, we know what he can do. It's just a matter of those guys staying healthy. Hopefully Tatar will play at a solid, consistent level with the team as well. And then Timo Meier, one of the biggest guys that I think is an X factor. He got signed to a contract, I think it was at the end of 22-23. Last year was a very disappointing season. If Meier gets to a little bit, if Meier gets a little bit better, I consider that a win. I think that under the offense of Sheldon Keefe and the way he likes to just let guys go when it comes to offense, I think Meier can get back to that San Jose form with the Devils for sure. So hopefully that does happen, but obviously it's a little bit up in the air right now. But overall, it's a really good top six. Your bottom six and some extra depth, you have Paul Cotter, Erik Haula, and Dawson Mercer as your third line. Then you have Nolan Foote. I get the Foots mixed up as well. Curtis Lazar and Stefan Noesen as your fourth line. And then for some extra guys, you have Curtis McDermott, Shane Bowers, and Nathan Bastian. So honestly, good depth. I think this is a pretty good bottom six. You have guys like Paul Cotter, looked really good when he came up for Vegas last year. Mercer had a down year last year, but I'm confident that he'll bounce back from that. You usually see there's a few guys in the NHL each year that tend to have sophomore slumps, so Mercer probably will be one of them, so he'll break out this year, hopefully. Erik Haula, good third-line center. I think the fourth line is really good as well. I like Noesen as a good add there, too. And then you have guys outside of the lineup, too, who are physical, can fight, can provide a little bit of secondary offense. Overall, it's a really good forward core. The defense is probably just as good if it's healthy. That's the biggest thing. Now, I do want to do a disclaimer. I do have Luke Hughes in this lineup, but he will be out until November is what we're projecting. He's out 6 to 8 weeks with a shoulder injury. Chances are he's going to come back November or earlier, so we'll see what happens there, but I do have him in the lineup just because why not? So your first pairing, Jonas Siegenthaler and Dougie Hamilton. Second pairing, Luke Hughes and Brett Pesce. Third pairing, Brendan Dillon and Simon Nemec. And then Jonathan Kovacevic is your extra defender there. So it's a really good D-core. Really good six lines. I like Kovacevic as an extra seventh D there. One of the biggest X factors for me, though, is Nemec. Can Nemec take a step this year? I honestly think he can. I think that with Luke Hughes getting hurt, yes, he is down lower on the depth chart that I found, but I do think that he can take that step. He can get over Pesce. That blue line is really deep, bringing in those guys. So overall, I like that blue line a lot. I think that blue line, when it's healthy, will be terrific. Obviously, they suffered injuries with Hamilton last year, and that was a big issue, but if he's most likely projected to be healthy, he most definitely is. So hopefully that goes well for the Devils, and that blue line's great. And then goaltending, as I said, Markstrom and Allen is your tandem. I like that tandem. That's solid. That's not a bad tandem whatsoever. That's a tandem that will win games for sure. And I think for the Devils, you need that. You want that. So obviously, I think they did a really good job at filling some of their holes through this team. And I think that getting a coach like Sheldon Keefe is really going to help this offense thrive. They're going to score this year, and they're going to be fun to watch this year. So be excited for that for sure. I'm really looking forward to it. Their GM is Tom Fitzgerald. I did say at the beginning that it's almost impossible for this team to miss the playoffs, but if they do, he's probably on the hot seat. Probably. I would imagine if they miss the playoffs again, then he's going to get let go, or something else is going to happen. So we'll see, though, what happens with the New Jersey Devils. But according to the Hockey News' yearbook, they are projected first in the Metropolitan Division. Their cup odds are 10-1. Their biggest X factor is goaltending, period. If the Devils are better in net and can improve on last season's paltry .886 save percentage, they're a completely different team. Markstrom should be able to do that, as the veteran brings up a .909 save percentage late in his career and a 2.73 goals against average. So if Markstrom puts up average career numbers for him, I think this team is a playoff team, without a doubt. If Markstrom struggles, it's going to get ugly there in Jersey. But anyways, I do think this team really will be able to get back into the playoffs this year. I know we said that last year, but I think this team, after some of the ads they brought in, I like the middle six and the bottom six ads. I like the ads on the defense. I like the goaltending ad. I think this team is in a really good spot to contend in the playoffs this coming year. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to like, subscribe down below. I really appreciate it. But anyways, that's it for me. I'll see you guys in the next video. Adios.